Hey guys, what's growing? It's Heather at Bush Poppy Farm. It's time for a May farm and garden tour. So this first tour on this video is going to be the garden, the home farm, the garden. I'll do the farm in a couple days after I get some stuff cleaned up out there. It's a total mess. Our string trimmer was broken and so now it's fixed. And I need to do that first before I can show you guys around. It's kind of even hard to walk around out there. So let's start here. It is in the afternoon. It was a hot day today, so maybe not the best time to film, but it's the only time I've got. So let's go take a tour, May tour of the garden. Okay, we're gonna start here with this bed that I transplanted some seedlings into a couple weeks ago. They're looking a little droopy right now just because it's hot, but they're doing great. And you can see that Phacelia just blooming, so pretty, those blue flowers. And here we have the bed in front of the garden. Clearly something laid here. I'm pretty sure it was a deer. This is a big bed of mint, and I've got some other seedlings that are doing great here that got transplanted. I've been cutting on this mint to use it as in bouquets because it's nice long stems and it smells amazing. We also have California poppies coming up in here. These are all the daffodils. They will die back completely, still have a ways to go, and then all that'll be in here. Then all that will be in here will be wildflowers, the mint, and some of those seedlings over there, that's yarrow, and some, I think, penstemon, and then the baptisia. These containers looking good so long as I keep them watered. Okay, over here in this bed, we've got our Rudbeckia triloba. Now this is a perennial, so it's gonna take probably till next year before it blooms, but that's fine. It will fill in this entire corner, get nice and full and lush, and have tons of Rudbeckia stems on it. This bed, daffodils, the flowers are gone, but the bulbs are still being fed by all the foliage. The peonies are up, and I actually have harvested from them, even though you're not technically supposed to, but this is all I'm gonna get from them this year. Next year we'll have a lot of stems on them, but I'm so glad to see how healthy they look. Here's the garlic bed. You can see how big and tall. I think it's bigger than last year. No scapes yet. Last year we harvested garlic scapes over the Memorial Day weekend, so that's coming up in 2 weeks. But I don't see any scape production yet. So because it's been a later, colder year, we might get later bulbing. So we'll see. Generally, once you harvest the scapes, and that's just on hardnecks. Once you harvest the scapes, you have 1 month, and then the bulbs are ready to harvest. But I think they're going to be nice big bulbs because those stems are nice and big. Blueberry bush. These two blueberry bushes here, these are brand new from last year. I didn't expect to get any berries on them. This is pink lemonade, both of the little ones, and then this one. Don't remember this variety. It's a Barrow blueberry, but it's also loaded with berries. More mint, because you know, once mint escapes, it just goes everywhere, but that's fine. Like I said, I've been cutting it, and then I also dry a ton of it because I love it as tea. Potatoes, looking very healthy, very happy. Yeah, I'm excited about that harvest. Pomegranate, no flowers this year. No, but it took a big beating with the weather, so it looks healthy. I'm not going to worry about it. The grape back here, looking beautiful and healthy. I don't think there's any fruit on it this year yet. However, look at that. That is a fruit cluster. That's super exciting because this will be the first year. Yes! This will be the first year that we get grapes. That's very, very exciting. Okay, and gosh, I can't even get it all in the frame. This is a single thornless blackberry. The flowers are starting to come out. It's just going to be loaded. And we have more of these. So here's the next one. They get progressively smaller because this guy gets the most sun for the most hours during the day, but you know, you can see these flowers starting here. There's flowers up there already. Oh, so excited. So yeah, so there's another blackberry right there. Then there's a blueberry bush that we'll get to, another blackberry and another blueberry. Right here is the asparagus bed. I did not expect to harvest any stems this year, but I fall planted these, and the plants themselves look super healthy, so I'm really happy about that. Next year we'll have asparagus spears. This is a mixed bed. There's some potatoes coming up that were apparently in there from last year. The onions are bulbing up, but they're not going to get that much bigger. I mean, you can see I just put them too close together, but that's fine. I'm going to leave them as long as I can, and then I'll start harvesting them. However, one of them, this one is flowering, so I'm going to pick that off and hope that it will spend a little bit more energy trying to put a bulb on there. But these onions are going to come out soon to be replaced by other stuff. I popped a tomato in here, but back here we have beans, and oh good, they finally germinated. I sowed some beans here to climb up this trellis, and they have germinated, so that's great. This is the cucurbit bed, although there are some beans in here too. Another rogue potato. I mean, you know, whatever. You go, boy. I put some marigold seedlings in the very corners, as well as lots of nasturtiums around all of these beds. We've got some cucumbers here. We've got 2 different squashes, summer squashes, and then over here we have some beans, climbing beans. I think these are dragon's tongue. No, they're long beans, Chinese long noodle beans. These are some plants that we got at the Annie's Annuals the other day. They need to go in the ground very soon. All right, pollinator garden. Really starting to look very lush. Look at that Spanish lavender is very, very pretty. That is a lemon balm that was rogue. I'm also harvesting stems from that for bouquets. Smell beautiful as foliage. These 2 climbing roses, this cracks me up. So if you want to look back, you can see the video where I pruned these roses. I gave them a very hard prune, and look at how healthy and just vigorous these are. Now, climbers are vigorous anyway, but the coolest thing about this is it's either the weather, because we've had a much longer cold season than we usually do, or the way I prune them, or what, but I'm getting all these really long, very straight stems, which is unusual for me for a climber, and I'm harvesting them for bouquets. I normally don't use roses, but hey, I've got them, and they're looking amazing. I mean, and look at how straight and long. These stems are like 3 feet long. Plus, the more I cut on them, the more they'll keep producing, but super healthy. Really happy about that. Plus, I need to cut because it's going to be hard to pass through here very soon. Okay, in here again, this is the pollinator garden, the other side of it, again, Spanish lavender. I've got some squashes planted in here. This is a buddleia. Every year, like I said, I cut it back to the ground, and it always comes back beautifully. It'll start flowering in a couple of weeks. This is a salvia. There's another salvia there. We've got yarrow in the back. This is a variety of milkweed. Very, very pretty. We've got some bluegrass here and penstemons, and this is that's a narrow leaf milkweed. We've got some penstemons. So all of these gonna start blooming. That is a cotinus back there. Instead of purple, it is a chartreuse color, which I really love. And then more yarrow and some other herbs scattered through here. Now, this blueberry bush, we came around this side to look at, I had to prop up this bush, this stem, because look at how many blueberries, you guys. I might have to net this because I think the birds are gonna just decimate it before we can harvest all of them. I mean, there's just so many blueberries. It's awesome. Look at that. Crazy. And then this is another blackberry, getting flowers all over it. All to be good berries. Now my bees are arriving in 2 days, so they're gonna have plenty to eat. Here's this other blueberry. This is a different variety back here, also producing a lot. Now this stem is gonna get taken off when I do the next pruning, because it'll be too old, and that'll be good because it's kind of laying over onto the ground. Okay, so this is a plum, 5 variety plum. Got a very hard prune to kind of fix some problems, and I don't think we're going to get any fruit on it this year. It did flower, but I don't see any fruit, so that's okay. That was expected. Really pretty pear tree, but still no fruit. Many years this guy's been here, no fruit. All right, and then we have some rogue strawberries that somehow found their way out here. The last time I had strawberries in this garden was 3 years ago, and they were up where the garlic is, so that's kind of funny. Okay, apple tree that did not flower again this year, but it's looking healthy. Another apple tree that again did not flower this year, also looking healthy. Another apple tree that did flower this year, and I'm hoping that means that we're actually going to get fruit. I don't know if these were for sure pollinated. I sure hope so, because we've had these trees for many years, and this will be the first year that they have fruited, this one at least. Those look like they did get pollinated, but we'll see. Okay, into the row crops. I'm gonna try to get here in the shade because the camera keeps shutting off. All right, we've got corn, a little tiny patch of corn planted right here. There's also a patch of corn over there. This corn is called Sugar Pearl, and it will not cross breed with any other corn, so you don't have to worry about putting it too close to other corn, which is great, because when you plant corn, if you want multiple varieties in a small space, you have to do them like 10 days apart. So this was planted at the same time as the other one over there, which I think is a glass gem corn. I'll look at the tag. And then we've got some tomatoes here, which eventually will need staking. Snapdragons are finally reaching harvest stage. I've been able to cut some stems off of these. We've got ladybugs on them, which is great. I haven't seen any aphids, so the ladybirds are probably doing their job. But I've been really needing this because I haven't had enough focal flowers to cut from, and now we've got snapdragons coming along. Status, the little bits that are left from the original bird attack in the fall, they're starting to come out too, which is great. These are starflower, not quite ready for harvest yet, but getting real close. And another thing getting really close, thank goodness, this is all feverfew, one of my favorite things to grow and to harvest. Woo, hanging baskets desperately need water. I just didn't even see that until just now. So I definitely need to bring a can down here. It was hot today. It was like 85 degrees Fahrenheit, so not a surprise. Chicky girls are doing great. They're all hiding in the shade right now because it's hot. Okay, sweet potatoes, they're doing all right. Not great, but we'll give it some more time. Phacelia, I have been harvesting on these, but they've got these fine hairs on there that are really sharp like spines, so not very enjoyable. Strawflower, ready for harvest. Haven't been picking it yet. I want to let it get a little bit bigger, but I just love this flower. So beautiful. So we've got these deep red ones. We have this rose color here, and then we have another one of my favorites. This, I can't even remember what the name of this one is, but I think it's so pretty. Lots of Orlea. We've got some rogue snapdragons here from last year that reseeded. We've got Nigella starting, which is great. Another one I need. This stand, super tall, it still hasn't flowered. We've got plenty of Amimagus and more Orlea over here. Camera keeps dying on me because it's hot. Here's the tomatoes that we've got in the Florida Weave. They're doing all right. They're putting on some growth. I'm gonna have to add another strand pretty soon. Peas are finally putting on growth, wrapping around the trellis and flowering. So we should have some actual veg soon. Here's some more carrots that were sown a while ago who have now just started to pop up. Those will just go to the chickens. This jujube finally breaking bud. It is mid-May. And look, this peony. So it's taken forever for the peonies to start. They stayed in ball form forever, but isn't that beautiful? We have another peony there, but I don't think it's going to have any blooms. There's one right here as well. And then all this yarrow back here I can harvest on when it's time. Elderberry plants, and we've got some more blackberries here. Doing great. Our squashes, they look a little droopy because it's hot, but dahlia is popping up from last year, so I'll actually get some stuff off of those as well. So yeah, everybody's looking really good. The fruit trees, they flowered for me, but this was their first year, so I don't think we're going to get any fruit, and I didn't expect that. Oh well, maybe. Yep, there's one. Don't know if it'll stick around, if it was totally pollinated or not. We'll find out. This is more scabiosa, and everything's looking droopy because it's hot, but it'll be fine. And then the corn that I planted here looks like only one survived, so no, two. So I guess I need to bring in more corn. Okay, the sun has gone down a little bit. It was so hot. The camera kept overheating. Okay, so pardon this mess. It's all stuff that needs to get transplanted, but look, I wanted to show you the azalea back there. This one of the white ones, just packed with flowers, so pretty. And then our Japanese maples are fully leafed out now. They're just so gorgeous. Look at the size of this one. That is one plant. It's crazy. So this white one is done pretty much. I need to literally physically go through and pull off because they get, you know, they kind of melt on there and they just get gross. So I like to go through here, and it's a job. I mean, it's not a quick job. I'll go through here and pull them all off and then compost all of that. But that's not a today job. Okay, so we've got, again, another Japanese maple, totally leafed out. Very, very pretty. The lighting's much better now too. This camellia, pretty much done, you can see, but it was really gorgeous. This azalea wrapping up as well, but other colors coming out. This one, the red one, is wrapping up, but that is just such a brilliant color. Pittosporum, our lavenders are all starting to pop. They have flower heads on them. They're just not blooming yet, but very soon. The dogwoods are all leafed out. They look good. This Pittosporum are just huge. We want to get more of them and just complete this whole row. Azalea over here, the light pink has started. It's so pretty. We've also got some Erigeron daisy over here. These are natives. I didn't plant them. They just pop up. California poppy. And you can see the leaves of the daffodils are still here too, but they're starting to die back. So like I've said multiple times, once they're brown, I'll come through and remove them all. And all it will take is just a little yank and they come right out, but the bulbs will stay in and then they come back next year. So more lavender. This is a salvia. Right behind it is a mimulus, sticky monkey flower. That's got pink flowers on it. And I can't wait to show those to you because they're really cool. All of this like beautiful creeping thyme ground cover, it just looks so nice. I mean, it's so funny because they started out as just little tiny seedlings when they went in the ground. I'm so glad that they have spread so much. We really just wanted this area to be dense and lush, kind of wild, and that's totally how it is. The euphorbia here has been blooming since I think January. Just crazy. So some of this other ground cover that we've planted, these are sedums and stuff, they do okay, but they haven't really spread as much as I had hoped. But, you know, obviously they're going to remain. This hellebore, I mean, the flowers are done. Look at the seed pods on that. Isn't that crazy? Really big seeds, but look how huge this plant has gotten. We've got decorative grasses in here. And a couple of hostas. I planted a lot of hostas, but not all of them survive. The deer really like them, so do slugs. Okay, and then back over to, you know, we've got this like fuchsia azalea back here, and this was a white one that's kind of done. So yeah, I like to come through and clean up. But you can see the leaves are all nice and green. That means they have, you know, the pH is right now in the soil. Once they start turning yellow is when I need to add a sulfur treatment. This azalea is really thinned out. I think I'll probably just remove it at some point. It's lost a lot. It's had a lot of dieback, so I think it's just not happy in this spot anymore. One more small Japanese maple, and then there's this little azalea back there. This is a loropetalum. All this geranium underneath the loropetalum, it really loves the shade, but those little flowers are so pretty. We've got a jade plant in here and one over here. These have been in pots for about 10 years now. We don't really do anything to them. These two urns, they're still looking good. These flowers, I can't remember what the variety is, but I think they have the coolest little flowers. So container, it's doing good, especially since I put this jasmine on the trellis. It looks so much better, and you can see all these new fronds on the fern coming out, and the jasmine over this arch is blooming. It smells amazing right now. Okay, messy hillside. We've got a couple of redwoods here. Underneath is more Erigeron daisy and some native geranium that's growing on the hillside. We've got lobelia and lamium here that went in as plugs, and they're just spreading like I had wanted them to. Heuchera and all of we had just a glorious show of bulbs here. They're all spent now, and then they will come back next year, but it was so nice. And you can see all the mushrooms, tons of mushrooms. That just means we have a lot of mycelium and active soil, and that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I have no idea if they're edible. I wouldn't even try. But again, all of this will look a little cleaner once the foliage dies back and I get rid of that. Okay, that bed that we replanted, tore up and replanted, these obviously haven't dealt with yet, but we have lots of seedlings, little plants starts that we have up front that are going to go in there. But the lavender is blooming. I put some tall sunflowers in the back there. Those will look really cool once they're blooming. Not super tall. They're going to come up to about the window height, but they're multi-branching sunflowers, so there'll be a lot of color. But yeah, this is all doing good. It's all settling in. Still haven't planted this because I've changed my mind about where I'm going to put it. Okay, pots. This riot right here was all spring bulbs. So look at these beautiful flowers that finally came out. They're actually going into bouquets tonight for tomorrow's CSA customers. They smell amazing. We've got some blooming cacti and succulents. Yeah, everything's coming along. One thing I'm super happy about is the citrus. Doesn't look good, the foliage, but it survived the frosts. It's got loads of blossoms on it and new leaf growth. This is the key lime. Loads of blossoms on it. It's gonna smell amazing when they're open, and lots of new foliage. And my other Meyer lemon, not so much in the way of blossoms. I mean, there's a few, but look at all this new leaf growth. That's really great, because I thought that all the freezes killed them. So I'm really pleased about that. This is a tower of basils. They are slow to come on, but they'll fill in. Strawberry tower. It's looking good. We've definitely got plenty of blooms coming along. We'll have lots of berries. Here's the herb tower. I've been pulling off of this for teas and cooking. But it was hot today, so it's gonna need water first thing in the morning. Okay, so still a little droopy because it's just now cooling off, but look at these lupins. Now, I planted these from seed last year, and they didn't do much last year because they're biennial, but this year, just so pretty. I love them. This color is amazing. I wish they weren't so droopy right now, but just gorgeous. And then back here, you can't really see, I've harvested a lot of the stems, but these are columbine back here. We've got some cosmos coming up. Yeah, these lupins, just amazing. And the foxglove are starting to come out. Much thinner stems than in previous years, and also yellowing of the leaves. So I think it's a nutritional thing. I think I definitely need to refresh the soil. Also, some of the stems are really twisted, whereas last year they were nice and straight. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, we have lots of foxglove coming up, but not as thick a stems and not as great of a show as in previous years. These light green are feverfew. And then just the little rosettes of these ground covers. I don't know, this is some kind of sedum, I don't remember the name, but look how sweet that is, those little tiny flowers. And again, still the greenery from the daffodils here. So we've got some penstemons and stuff coming up slowly. I don't even remember what this is. Super soft leaf. We'll find out when it starts to bloom, but it does have some spots on the leaves, so I'm gonna have to keep an eye on that. This stuff here is germander, and it does have a flower, but I don't know when that will happen. These irises, so awesome, aren't they? Look at that. These guys just popped a couple days ago. The color is just amazing. There's a podocarpus back here. And then just peppered throughout here, lots of salvias. This is a Nepeta, cat's pajamas. This is more columbine. Look at those flowers. Pink petticoat, I believe that one is. And I can't remember what this plant is. Sorry. But look at those pretty little flowers, tiny little white flowers, ground cover. This is lady's mantle here. I haven't gotten any blooms off it yet, but it's only the second year. And then we've got this really pretty blue fescue. This is a black suited iris, hasn't popped yet, but it's really cool. Look how dark that is. We've got more columbines here. They're so pretty. And then look at this little guy. Again, can't remember what that is. Dusty Miller, which is a lot shorter now because I harvested a ton of stems off of it for an event last weekend. We've been having California poppies through here. They close up at night, so you're not really going to see any now. This is Gara, and I'm sure it will give us lots of stems like it did last year. I cut it way back in the early spring. So the Dusty will come back and give us more stems. It really needed to get cut back anyway. Here's one of the flower buds on this Dusty. And here's another black suited iris. I can't wait to see when that blooms. Not sure what this guy is coming up, can't tell, but it's got flower buds on it. So let's wait and see. Here's one of the foxgloves. Yeah, they're just not looking that great this year. At least they're giving the bees some food, but I haven't really seen any harvestable stems. I mean, that one back there is looking pretty decent, but okay. So here's a California poppy that's all closed up for the evening. All right, we've got some sea thrift in here, lots of different salvias that'll bloom later in the year, more Nepeta. We've got some hollyhocks, which finally I can see the beginnings of flower stalks after 3 years. This little area here, super cute. We've got some sea thrift and some violas and some foxglove here. So this is where I feel like it looks the most cottage garden-y. There's some delphinium fading back there. On the back here we have more hollyhock, more foxglove, and buddleia. And then this is yarrow right here. I think it's apricota. We have some sweet alyssum here, and then of course these gorgeous lupins. Back here we have one left because I've cut a bunch of them. Globe allium. Yeah, you can see some more delphinium back here. I didn't support any of these, so some of them are falling over. And then this bed, finally, we've got osteospermum coming back. Lots of helichrysum, and then all of the lamb's ear getting ready to go to flower. And look at those nice tall stems. So they can wilt pretty badly if you harvest them at the wrong time. So you got to keep them super hydrated, but they're really, really pretty in bouquets. And then, of course, the rose exploding out. I mean, it needs training all over again, but so pretty. Now this is days old after bloom. And here's one that's just starting. And you can see all along here, just flowers everywhere. Also, the hydrangeas come back, which is great. Didn't know if they survived the winter. They're looking good. These are all limelight hydrangeas. So they will give lots of flowers. There's some wild strawberry popping up around these rose bushes. Here's another bud view. This is a Joseph's Coat rose. All right, and then these containers that we planted up, this is kind of interesting. So first of all, there's only 3 things in here. There is, at the base, there is sweet alyssum and strawberries, as you can see. And then in the middle, climbing up, is a clematis. Now, it's interesting because you see this one stem just died back. This one's looking fine. The exact same thing happened on this one. This one stem died back, but this one's looking great. And hopefully will be blooming sometime soon. I do see some flowers. There's one right there. I don't expect much this year. Next year, I think it'll really have spread and give us a really good show. But look at the alyssum. When I planted it, it looked really sad, but it's so happy now. And this particular strawberry is great because it's a really upright producing one. So until the berries get heavy, it stands really high, and then you'll be able to lean the berries over the side and they won't get so dirty. The little succulent garden, for the most part, looking okay. This is empty because I had a succulent that I had put in there and something took it. Just ran off with it. They had dumped over the bowl and ran off with the succulent. But look at these cool flowers. When they open, the hummingbirds just go crazy for them. And then here's another one that's flowering. Succulent flowers are so cool because they're so different. All right, and you can see all the ferns, lush and filled in. Again, this whole area is going to get torn up because we're having this retaining wall replaced and a bunch of drainage put in so that we no longer get a mudslide in the pool when it rains in the rainy season. So it's going to be all torn up. We haven't even scheduled the work yet. We're still trying to decide on the contractor, but all of this is going to go away. We're going to try to dig up and save as much as we can, but there's no guarantee that what we pot up and then replant will work. There is a gas line running under here that goes to the, as well as electricity that goes out, and irrigation that goes out to the pool pump. So it's going to be a pretty big deal, but it'll be good to have it done. Just a lot of money. All right, Fire Island hydrangea. It's just getting some flower buds going here. I can't wait to show you guys this thing in bloom. It's amazing. The nasturtium seeds that we planted, a lot of them are starting to germinate, which is great. These guys keep coming back year after year. I had one season that I popped them in here. They have little pink flowers to them. They are Oxalis triangularis. I just love them. They're so pretty, but they spread so nicely. They're a very well-behaved plant. This jasmine is starting to put on some flower buds. So this will be covered in blossoms very soon and smell lovely. And then over here, pardon all the overgrown grass. We haven't been out here to mow in quite a while. Pretty much all of this geranium is done blooming, but it still looks very pretty as a ground cover. And then the euchera are just getting so tall. They're looking great. That hellebore back there is huge. And then these guys that I planted from the containers that they were in the winter, they're doing just fine. They're settling into their new home. We have more limelight hydrangea here and here, as well as in these pots. I mean, these guys are looking gorgeous. Something is eating this flowering maple, but that's all right. It's still got plenty of good leaves on it. I think some of it is just, it's been too wet. But yeah, these limelights are looking great. In a month or two, we'll have lots of stems from them. All of these are seedlings going out to the farm this week to get planted. We've got ornamental grasses, we have amaranth, we've got basils, all kinds of stuff. And then in the greenhouse, we have corn and wheat and other stuff going out to the farm, as well as peppers, which need to get potted up into a bigger container. Squashes, some of which are going out to the farm. Very leggy sunflowers that need to go out to the farm and go in the ground. And then over here, cucumbers that look awful that just need to get tossed. And then the rest of these are seedlings, which are still growing, but slowly. This is amaranth, cinnamon basil, cardinal basil. And we've got Didiscus and Saponaria. And then something that did, Jewels of Oak Bar, that's only just starting to germinate. Zinnias, which we need to plant a lot more of, and baby's breath. And then over here we have more zinnias. So I'm planting lots and lots of zinnias because the first two successions that I put out at the farm died because we went into very cold temperatures again, and the zinnias just don't dig it when it's in the 30-degree zone. So yeah, when we have frosts that are 2.5 months past our average last frost date, it kind of throws a wrench into things. So that's pretty much it. I mean, you know, that's the garden. I will be doing the farm portion of this tour later this week. I have to go out to the farm and clean up a whole bunch of stuff. Like I said, do a bunch of string trimming, ton of planting to do. But then I'd like to show you what is growing out there, what I have already put in the ground, including the dahlias and mums. We also installed the cattle panel arch, and I'm going to be putting some stuff in grow bags at the base of those because it'll be easier to relocate. And in those grow bags is going to be climbing nasturtium and also some melons, climbing melons. And so I think it'll be really cool. It'd be fun to have that out there. Also because I don't have space to do that here. So that is the plan. Couple updates that I actually put in a video before, but the sound wasn't working, so I couldn't upload that information for you guys. Two big changes. The first big change is to my CSA. So since 2020, I have been delivering individual bouquets to people all over the San Francisco Bay Area on Tuesdays, and then Tuesdays and Wednesdays. Because there's so many, which is great. I'm super thankful. And I've really enjoyed doing this service. Most of the time CSAs are conducted as a pickup spot, right? You sign up for a CSA and then there's a pickup spot and you go get your stuff every week or every other week or whenever. I started doing deliveries because we entered the pandemic. So, you know, when I set up my business in 2019 and I did all my fall planting for spring, I assumed I was going to have pickup locations for the CSA. And then March of 2020, we went into lockdown. And that's when all my stuff started blooming. And I knew I had to fulfill those orders. And so I decided I'll just deliver them all. So I did that first year, and I thought, I enjoyed it in that I enjoyed giving that kind of personal service to my customers. But it was a lot of driving time, and I thought, well, next year I'm not going to do it this way. I'll just have a pickup spot. But I continued to deliver. So I delivered in 2020, I delivered in 2021 and 2022, and now it is 2023, and I am still delivering, but that's not going to happen anymore. My CSA is the biggest revenue channel in my business, and so I'm not going to get rid of the CSA, but we're going to go to a pickup only model. I'm at the point now where I spend 15 hours a week in the car making deliveries. And while I love listening to audiobooks and, I actually kind of enjoy driving, 15 hours a week is a lot over two days. It makes me miss 2 full days of farm work. And that means that I'm really far behind in doing all my other stuff. So it just makes more sense for me, for my business. I will be losing a number of customers because I have customers really far from here that I've been delivering to, and I seriously doubt they're going to want to travel as far as I've been driving every week to get a bouquet. And that's okay. Because we're going to have 2 pickup spots to start with. There'll probably be more added. One is here at my house, my home farm. People can come and pick up on Tuesdays. And the other is at a place in Lafayette, a neighboring town called Creekside Commons. And the really exciting thing about that is that there are 3 other CSAs already delivering there. And so it's a one-stop shop for people who want organically grown vegetables and fruits, pastured meats and eggs, and ethically caught fish, as well as flowers now. So it's a really exciting thing. The CSA there runs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I will be delivering my stuff to be picked up on Wednesdays, and if anybody can't pick it up on Wednesday, they can actually come on Thursday to get their bouquets. So that's super exciting. It's a huge weight lifted off of me because I've gotten to the point where the deliveries are starting to stress me out because I'm losing so much time with other things that I really need to be doing. It's taking away a lot of time, not just from farm work, but from admin work. When I get back from delivery days, at the end of the day, I usually have over 100 emails, multiple orders that need to be dealt with, lots and lots of phone calls to return, and it's stressful. So my biggest fear is that something's going to fall through the cracks and customers are going to suffer for that. So this really is going to help me a lot. So that's the first big change. If you are a local person and you're watching this and you're in the CSA or interested in the CSA, you can go to my website, bushpoppyfarm.com. And it's right at the very top of the main page there. You can click through and get all the information and sign up. You're welcome to do that. In fact, it's funny because we've already had new signups since I've put up the information about it being pickup only. So that starts June 1st, the week of June 1st. So I'm really excited about that. The second change is that, as I've been talking, I've been super, super busy and I don't want anything to fall through the cracks. I really could use some help, but I can't afford to hire someone full time. I have lots of connections. The Bay Area, we have tons of universities around here, but there is a university about 2 miles from my house, St. Mary's University, and apparently they have a really good business program there who is constantly finding internships for students. And so I'm going to get hooked into that because I need the help. And then the final change is I am investigating a new piece of land for expansion closer to the house. And it's a very flat, big piece of land. It used to be a horse arena, so it's pretty large. And it could be game-changing. So stay tuned. I'm going to try to meet again with these folks. They're really great. It would be for lease, but they're real close to my house, which is also exciting. Anyway, I'm going to go meet with them again so I can actually walk the area with a notebook and a tape measure and measure everything out and get an idea of how much production space I would have and all the things that I'm going to need if we do decide to work there as well. So stay tuned for that because it will need a huge amount of work. It will include needing to rent large equipment to clear it because right now it is under 4 feet tall poison hemlock and cardoons everywhere, which is so crazy to me. I mean, just everywhere. So it's going to need a whole lot of work. If it works out, and if we can come to a deal, then I would be clearing the whole area and tarping it until October. In October, I would remove the tarp and bring in compost and create beds and plant. Some of it, all of it, I don't know, it just depends. I'd have to make a lot of plans. So yeah, that's a potential as well. So stay tuned, there's lots of things coming, there's changes. We're in the height of the growing season right now and things are really crazy, but I'm looking forward to getting some help. And on the personal side, my eldest is graduating high school next weekend. It's super exciting. I'm very excited for him. He's going to be going to college at Southern Oregon University and in the fall. And my other child is going to be a junior in high school next year. So yeah, it's kind of crazy. We're going to be empty nesters in a couple of years. That's nuts. Anyway, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you've enjoyed our May home garden tour. Stay tuned for the fall. Stay tuned for the May farm tour. That's coming up. I hope you have a wonderful time in your garden, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.